In this video, we'll learn how to create and manage categories in the Blackboard Grade Center. There are 8 default categories in Blackboard, and we'll go ahead and take a look at those. So in order to manage our categories, we want to go to Manage and then Categories. Here is where you'll find these 8 default categories. We have assignments, blogs, discussions, journals, self and peer review, surveys, and tests. And in these, I can see which assignments have already been given the categories. When you create an assignment in Blackboard, it's going to give it a default category based on the type of item that it is. However, you might look at these categories and realize that you're actually grading them in 2 different ways. So for example, under tests, I have all of my chapter post tests, but I also have a midterm exam and a final exam that I want to count as separate individual grades. So what we need to do then is create new categories to put some of these things into. So the first thing I want to do is go to Create Category, and I'm going to put Exams as the title of this category. Okay, so I'm going to be able to move some of my items into that exams. I also have an issue here with assignments. I want my reflections and my essays to count differently. The reflections are going to be 15% of the grade, where each essay will be individually 15% of the grade. So I'm going to create one more category. Just hit Create, name your category, and then Submit. Okay, so you'll notice that we created categories, but we aren't able to move things into those categories. So to leave this screen, click OK. And then we have 2 options for how we can move items and associate them with the correct categories. I'll show you one way and then I'll show the other. First, you would go to the item that needs moving. That's default category is not the one that you want it to count for. So in this example, my midterm exam, it was a test, but I want it to go to the exams category. So I'm going to click on the drop down button and then I'm going to edit column information. And we're going to scroll down to where it says the category. So I don't want it to be test, but since I've created exams, I'm going to choose the exam category, scroll back up and hit submit. Alright, so I could go through each of those assignments individually and move them, or I can go to manage and then column organization, and I can select specific items. So these 3 essays, I wanted to change their category to essays. Now it says essays. And then I still need to move the final exam, and I'll change that category to exams. And I'll hit submit to make sure that this saves. So now when I go back to manage categories, I can check and make sure everything is where it needs to be. So I have these 3 reflection assignments, I have 5 discussions, 3 essays that are going to count together, a midterm and a final exam, and then all of my chapter tests or quizzes.